Mic'd up.
Welcome to a very special night at Yankees Coast to Coast. Yes, okay. Thank you for that, Brendan.
It is. You said I had to wait, so I waited, and now it's official.
Uh,
Sadly, it's official. So you were there. So let's talk about
mhm.
that first. I think is the most important thing. What was it like pregame?
It was a lot of energy. It was great. Place filled up very fast.
What time did you get there?
I got there around 6, right about 10 to 6, and
Yeah.
it wasn't packed. It was very empty, but then boom, because they do what they do now. They control the crowd
Yes.
outside, and it's so hard to get in. They leave the 90% of the crowd is sitting outside trying to get in, and then
Hmm.
they slowly allow everybody to just kind of get to their seats. But I got in and ran into our friend Joe Valenza
Hmm.
on the same line, on the same of 50,000 seats in the stadium. I was sitting literally 3 seats from him. It was just can't begin to know how that's possible. But
Well, it's good
we
to have a friendly face, and I
yeah,
couldn't recognize Jamie with his haircut.
yeah. So he keeps saying, "Hey, my hair."
That's
So
why they lost. They can't be cutting off it. Well, what was the guy's name in the Bible? They cut his hair, and he wasn't strong anymore.
Delilah, Samson.
And Samson, there it is.
There it is. All right, so it was the crowd was good. It was they were ready. A lot of positive feelings. A lot of everyone, lots of uniforms. I've never seen so much merch in my life. Everybody was dressed. Even I don't usually wear Yankee stuff to ball games. I don't know why. Just
Well, you
don't.
wore your visitor's jersey?
I'm wearing I'm wearing a couple of reasons. I'm wearing a Don Mattingly 23 because I thought it would be
Okay.
a little bit of a zinger for him, but it didn't work. I
Well, you were
failed.
you were sitting where in home run territory in right field and second deck?
I was right on the second deck, 4 rows down, right behind the foul pole. So a home run would have like the home run from last night. I was on the other side. If it had come to left, came to right, I would have been right in my hands. It was
I was
perfect.
very surprised you didn't throw Jamie over the shelf to try and catch the
Right.
mad homer.
I gave it a shot. I did
Okay.
try, but he's gotten bigger and he's a little heavier now than he used to be. But no, that home run, I couldn't see it, but I could tell from the trajectory it was gone from the minute it hit it.
Right.
It was beautiful. That was actually a great moment, I have to say, and good for McMahon. I think he deserved it. I'm glad if anyone in that lineup hit a home run today, it was him. I'm really glad it
Right.
was
Of all
him.
the guys that have had struggled, he's the guy because nothing has impacted his defense or anything else that he's
No,
done. He even tried to lay down a bunt. It didn't work against the left-handed pitcher. I mean, he
yeah,
seems to be a very smart baseball player.
yeah, I like him.
You know how I feel about him long term for the Yankees, but as far as if you want to have a guy who's got a winning style of play on your team, if he could hit better, he'd be the guy because he
And
could.
who knows? I don't hate his swing. I got to tell you, he's got a nice one-handed classic left-handed swing that I really like. I think that there's hope there. There's something to
Well,
work with.
I would agree. There's hope there if he would make more contact. The problem is the team he's on. But
Wrong team.
what,
The guy like that goes to play for Toronto, and he'll
well,
270.
when we get to the series, there was some stats that they talked about in the postgame that you probably couldn't hear because you were commuting. But yeah, I mean, then obviously, the Blue Jays got that second run, which again, the first run they got off Schlittler. I mean, come on, he was ahead of Guerrero 0-2, and he just slapped the ball to right field. When are the Yankees ever going to do that? I mean, the only guy that ever did it was Caballero, and that's because he probably hurt his wrist. But I mean, think about that first inning. Guerrero got that base hit down the line. Barger had a dribbler. I mean, what was it like? And then what was it like, when Jazz booted that ball? What happened?
I was in the can.
What was the noise?
The
Well, not the can noise, but what was it? What was the stadium ambiance?
Oh, it was like,
Oh,
oh, like you
the
could
whole.
hear it. And then I hear the quintessent, the usual, like FUs from the guy in the guy in the urinal next to me. So I heard it, but I
So
didn't
for you
see it.
to have you seen it yet?
I saw it on a small screen, and it
All
looked
right.
like it
So,
was.
so it was a routine double play ball.
Yeah, my son said he's totally screwed it up, but I was getting different messages.
Oh no, he it was a one hopper. He he turned to field it like he's supposed to, was closer to the bag, and he just booted it. And it definitely was a lapse in concentration, which is a Jazz thing. Boone was making excuses in the post game, talking about how hard it was hit. I'd be curious how hard it was hit. Obviously, watching it on my computer at school, I couldn't tell, but as soon as the guy hit it and I saw it was a one hopper, I was like, "Oh, double play out of the inning." Nope. The other one was there was it didn't cost it cost them a run as well as Schlittler on the base hit, on the other base hit up the middle. Schlittler looked like he could have fielded it. Even Smoltz said he could have fielded it, but he took his hand away because he thought if he didn't field it cleanly, it was going to get away from him.
Yeah.
And he thought that Jazz was right behind him, which, as a matter of fact, is exactly where the other ball was that Jazz booted, was one that just got past the pitcher. Um, did you see Jazz on the double play when he was running to first base? To me, it looked like he started out like he was running and then he broke it down as soon as he saw he was going to be out. But everybody's jumping up and down and screaming, saying he didn't run at all. But I didn't see that.
He was coming right at me, so I
Right. So
couldn't
you're
tell
running
how
hard.
fast. It's hard to tell
Right.
because he's coming. I can't see him moving. I can only see he's coming right at me. It's like a train coming right at you. You really can't
From
tell
300
how fast
feet.
they're coming.
Right.
I don't have. You need a side angle for
To
that,
me,
and
to
I
me,
didn't
it
see
looked
it.
like he bolted it out of the box, and then once the throw was on the way from second base back to first base, he broke it down. But that
Yeah.
was disappointing. The other disappointing at bat was his one later in the game where he got up there and he was
Oh,
totally dead pull, and then just pulled the ball dead right into the ground, which goes back to what we were talking about. I think that what was it, Osti last night. Oh, by the way, thank you for playing my ugly and bad and not my good last night.
I'm
Uh,
sorry.
not to
I
mention
was.
that you were
I,
not to mention that you were like, "Hey, he should have been on the show," and I was like, "I could have been on the show," and you didn't add me. But the other
I'm
thing is,
sorry, and I want to tell you the reason because I usually use my iPad, which is
yeah,
much larger, and I couldn't get my screen to really
that's okay.
cooperate.
I was yelling at my screen like I was watching a game, especially when Osti missed my point on the Rice hitting and then getting defensive replaced, because obviously Goldschmidt for a defensive replacement was right. I just certainly should have hit him.
Yeah.
Anyhow, the whole thing
By the
with
way,
Jazz
this
is
right
great.
here, by the way, is my son's Anthony Volpe rookie baseball cap signed.
Well, it
So
was worth a lot more money 2 years ago. Um, so yeah, and then then obviously Williams came in and couldn't close the door. Schlittler deserved better, obviously, because Williams shouldn't have even been in there because they would have been out of the inning. I know you can't assume a double play, but come on, that was the easiest double play.
yeah.
Williams couldn't close the door, let the inherited runner score. Duvall didn't have it, but the Yankees had their chances. I mean, they only scored one run. The bottom line
Mhm.
is, you know what? Yes, they allowed more runs than they should have. Probably should have only got 3 runs and not five.
Mm.
But even at 3 runs, they were, they're not winning scoring one
Well,
run.
they weren't hitting. I mean, there was no collision. They had second. They did get a run. I got to tell you, Judge was beautiful tonight. Played
Right.
just
Got it
such
knocked
a
it. He scored in the last inning, so it was five
I
two.
mean, in garbage time, but I mean, it was amazing to me. He brings up, and I said this in the chat earlier. I don't believe that Boone brought in Dominguez to help win the game. I think he brought him in to save Volpe from a fourth strikeout because I think
I agree.
if that was noisier, the booing after the third strikeout was louder than anything I heard from Gal. I mean, I used to go to a lot more games than I do now. Um, I remember going during the Gallo era, and I thought that was bad. I thought that was uncalled for. It was so bad. It was so over the top.
Right.
But this was louder than that because it was that many more people, and everybody was so angry. Everybody at that point was pissed, and there was a lot of anger in the stands tonight. I noticed a lot of people were screaming, F Boone, F Boone, F Cashman. A lot of get this, get him out of there, And then when he tried to come out to take Schlittler, the place erupted. They didn't want Schlittler taken out. So, of course, he ran back. From where we sit, we weren't
Yeah,
tell, you couldn't really
they
tell,
the first
again,
time he
because the
came
Yankees
out.
never wear their uniforms. The Yankee coaches are never in uniform. They're always in schmatas. So you never know what you never, you never know whether or not they're,
What's a schmata
what,
for our non-Yiddish friends?
for schmata, like sort of a blouse, some kind, sort of an
Slumpy,
ugly,
slumpy,
an
strumpy, frumpy look.
an unbecoming blouse.
A short sleeve hoodie. Anyhow,
We do laugh. We can have fun
we
with
can
this.
laugh now. Yeah, I mean it's at that point, part of grief, right? Anyhow, the I don't know what the stages are, but that's the one we're at. It was really interesting to watch because Boone watching on TV the first time Boone came out and didn't take out Schlittler, the Davis and Smoltz were both saying that they were going to take out Schlittler, and
Two
Smoltz
idiots.
seemed very happy he didn't take out Schlittler, and Davis seemed very surprised he didn't take him out. Which
Yeah,
I think maybe the crowd did have something to do with it, but I mean, clearly he was the most dominant pitcher they had in the playoffs. So
yeah.
the bottom line on this to me is the better team won, the better roster won.
Uh,
There was 34 innings in the series, 34 runs for the Blue Jays. The
Amazing.
Jays 3 years ago were a top strikeout team. This is very Astros like to me, from when the Astros used to be a very big strikeout team, and then all of a sudden they weren't, and they started winning and
Hmm.
cheating and won the World Series. But the Jays were a big strikeout team. They still have their big two guys in Bichette and Vlad, who strike out a fair share. Bichette not as much, and they brought in Varsho, who was striking out a lot, but not as much anymore either. But they
How
brought
are
in
they
a bunch
teaching
of
these
guys:
guys to not strike out? What's going
Clement,
on?
Barger, Lucas, or whatever his name, Luke's, although he's Lucas.
Luke.
They don't strike out. Kirk doesn't strike out as much as he did a couple of seasons ago. And that's what's changed for them in the last 3 years. And you said something about that. What was what you wrote it in the chat, and I responded with contact never gets
Yeah.
overwhelmed.
What I
Contact doesn't
said,
get overwhelmed.
it doesn't. What I said was, why is it that the Yankees seem so susceptible to the righty lefty handedness of whoever's pitching, where they're spinning run batters around, they're taking guys out and then bringing them in only to have a pitcher come in and weaken them. Why is it that a team like the Blue Jays never seem to be out of
Over
control? They're never overmatched at any time
and
by any of the pitching.
contact does not get overmatched. Think
Mhm.
about it. Bellinger didn't necessarily have the greatest series, but Bellinger was good against lefties all season, right?
Mhm.
He doesn't get overmatched because of the way he approaches the game, and that's the thing is contact doesn't get overmatched because you're not out there trying to do too much. So a guy like Volpe, it doesn't matter lefty or righty with Volpe. I'm sorry, forever it hasn't mattered lefty or righty with
Stinks.
Volpe. He just
Mhm.
is overmatched against good pitching. That was the other thing they said about the Blue Jays is that they had a consistent issue, and this was the guy on the postgame show, not Ricky Ricardo, the other guy. Um, I really like him. He was really good play-by-play too. But he said that the Blue Jays' reputation 3 years ago was that they couldn't make contact against good pitching. Who does that sound like? Sounds like the Yankees.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can't win. Boone in the post game, again, I think the words he said were we're gonna break through. I mean, that was what he said. We're going to break through. That was his exact quote. This team will break through. And I'm thinking to myself,
No.
what
What?
prompts him to believe that? They keep losing to the same type of teams
And the same way,
and
the
in the same
same
way.
way
Right.
with untimely bad decision, bad plays.
Mhm.
Um, so poor fielding when I mean, I thought today they played the first half of the game. I thought it was one of the best fielding games I've ever seen them
Absolutely.
play.
The Bellinger
Yeah.
catch in the first inning, I thought
I
was
mean,
was the momentum swing I thought it was going to
oh
be.
God,
Because
the
if
place
that
went
drops and they score
crazy.
more runs, the whole thing would have collapsed. And the
Yeah.
Volpe play on the play,
Over his shoulder.
that
Who
was a
the hell?
fantastic catch. So I got on the benefits of replay. Okay, that was an unbelievably great play by Volpe. No ifs, ands, or buts. But made it even a greater play, if you ever get a chance to watch it, is about fractions of seconds right before he caught it, he looked at Bellinger and then looked back up and got the ball.
Hmm.
Again, where's the communication? It was
Yeah.
amazing to me. That was an unbelievable play by Volpe. Bellinger was nowhere near the play, so Bellinger probably wasn't saying anything, but Bellinger should have been yelling, you, or something to let him know it was his ball. So because Volpe literally had to take his eyes off the ball to look at
Hmm.
Bellinger to make sure they weren't going to kill each other, and he still made the play. It was an unbelievably great play by Volpe, but further evidence that they don't talk to each other, which drives
Yeah.
me freaking crazy. It drives me crazy. So the better team won. They
But
went with
the
the
batting
different.
averages, you know what was incredible? They had guys, their OPSs were like 1,500 and 1,900. They had everybody on that lineup was hitting it except Santander. He was having a hard time. And talk to me, I was scared to death of Santander because I felt like he was
Well,
hitting the ball hard.
that at bat in the second inning was he was 0-2. He
Hmm.
had him 0-2, couldn't put him away. He threw 11 pitches in the first inning, Schlittler, and then threw 11 pitches to Santander, leading off the second.
It
It
was
was an
amazing.
unbelievable at bat. I was so scared for that at bat, but he ended up getting him out. But it was amazing to watch.
Because he had a line drive hard in the
Yeah,
gap right at Judge. I mean, he kept hitting the ball hard. I mean, I kept saying this guy is gonna go, he's gonna erupt, and I'm saying he's gonna hit a home run any minute now. So I kept thinking that was coming, but they pulled him out for defensive replacement. But
right.
you know, the I gotta say, I don't think I've ever seen a team that was more in control of their
Mhm.
bats than these guys in this series.
Clement went 9 for 14 in this series.
Unreal, unbelievable.
Unreal,
I mean, everything was
unreal.
hit. Everything was hit. They just seemed to be falling. I don't know if
I
they
mean,
can do it again.
Varsho went 0 for 4 today, but was still 7 for 16 for the series.
Yeah, amazing. And that's it. That's what beat them.
Barger, who was 1 for 7 going in, ended up having 3 hits, 3 for 5 today. So
Hmm.
Varsho didn't hit today, and Barger just took
Barger
over.
did. But the thing was the Yankees today, they just did nothing. I mean, it was so hard to watch this game. As a fan in the stand, you just kept feeling like again, too many big swings. Guys coming up that they walked. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Grisham. They had just walked the number 9 hitter.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
Wells
walked him
had a
down.
great at bat.
Oh,
Wells
McMahon's walk. Yeah.
McMahon walks, great at bat. So then they have like at this point they have maybe first and third. I can't remember exactly. But then the first pitch, I'm like, he swings at the first pitch. He swings at the first pitch, misses it, and then he swings at the second pitch and does it again, hits a pop up. I'm just like, what is wrong with these guys? Where is baseball acumen here? Where is skill? What makes you think after a guy's just thrown 4 in a row, you don't, yeah, and you need the run, you don't take the first
Well,
pitch?
and the fact that it wasn't a fastball down the like if it's a fastball down the middle, you say, okay, he just walked the guy in 4 pitches. If the ball is in this little square right here, like
I'm
Steve
hitting.
Martin and the jerk talking about the prizes, it's got to be in
Yeah,
this little spot. I don't care what pitch it is. If it's a fastball and it's in this spot, if it has any spin, I don't care if it's a meatball over the middle, I'm taking it. And if it's a
yeah.
fastball anyplace else except for this spot, I'm taking it. And Grisham swung at a pitch that wasn't in his honeypot, and that was just the most ridiculous thing.
Grisham, Jazz did it at one
Well,
point.
Jazz
They were,
totally overswung. Jazz had he picked a really bad time to have a really, really, really mental eggplant game.
yeah, mental leg black game. That's it.
I mean, so
It
if you look at it from the standpoint of what went good tonight, as well as for most of the series, Schlittler 6 1/3, right?
Judge.
That Judge again, another few Judge. I wrote, and Bednar pitched great again.
I thought it was interesting. If they had come back, who was going to close?
But yeah, but they had
Weaver?
to put in Bednar to hold them. They had to hold them. They
I
had
know.
Cruz would have been the guy,
Oh gosh.
which is better than Weaver.
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe it would have been Cruz.
So
Cruz
if you
had
look
pitched
at
a lot of
tonight, right, you
innings
had
though.
Grisham went 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. Bellinger went 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. Chaz went 0 for 3 with a strikeout and a walk. And then Volpe went 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Volpe, 1 for 15, 11 strikeouts in the series.
Amazing. There's your shortstop, boys. And remember, hey, there's the leadoff hitter. Everybody's been saying the Yankees need a. Why don't they put Volpe at leadoff?
So
That's a great
you can't.
idea.
The guy has less than 300 on base. So I mean, what do you think of the lineup? They put in Goldie for Rice. They wanted the
Um,
left, right, and they decided that Rice was the lefty that was going to come out of the lineup. I think their choice was Rice or McMahon coming out of the lineup, and they chose Rice out of the lineup because McMahon had been having better at bats. So I
that's
think that,
right.
and it actually worked out with regard to McMahon because he hit the homer. And they also decided, which you guys talked about yesterday, and we talked about after game 2, they left Volpe in there. We
Yeah,
thought he
which
should have been
was
benched after
it
game
made
two.
no sense. Was there any word that Caballero was hurt today?
No,
Because
not that I
I
heard.
was I
A
was
lot of the game I
surprised that
couldn't
he.
listen to, was just watching. I was not surprised that Volpe was in the lineup. It's just the way the game goes.
Well, I didn't understand why they had in the eighth inning. They're down at this point badly. Goldie leads off with a walk.
Yeah,
Why did
why did they let Volpe get up there?
why did they first? Why did Goldie not? Why didn't they have someone run for Goldie? That seemed to me a time where you bring somebody in for Goldie.
Caballero, yeah, Caballero Dominguez.
But then, of course, this is the new thing. Well, it's only they're 4 runs down. They don't need 1 run. They need 2 runs. That's not the way you play baseball.
You got to put pressure on the
Score
other team
as many runs as you can. You put
when you
pressure.
can. Yeah.
I mean, it just amazes me. So when I saw him, I said, "Why is Goldie running here?" Goldie, of course, didn't get much further, get much past. I think he got to third, but that was again that inning where nobody
Yeah.
was taking a pitch that they needed to take. But Goldie, I thought I was glad Rosario came in. Big hit, nice hit. It was a
Mhm.
beautiful hit, and I was like, God, amazing. He hits. Guy really knows how to hit. Left-handed hitters, left-handed pitchers. He knows how to hit.
I mean, I would love now. Rosario is a free agent after the year. I'd like to see him come back because I
That
think
would be,
he seems to be a player that would good. I think. Oh, and Caballero's signed, so he's coming back.
yeah.
Um, so I mean, somebody should be platooning with McMahon and then McMahon for defense. But if you look at the ugliness of this team, obviously Fried and Rodon were the ugly. Warren, which I thought was the right time to bring him in, but if he would have pitched effectively, they could have possibly been in game two,
Oh,
but he
that
didn't.
game, yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't do the long relief role very well. And then, obviously, was everybody was all over Boone for bringing Warren in the middle of an inning as opposed to letting him start fresh, which I thought was a fair criticism, but not that
Hmm.
big a deal because the game was so out of hand. Anyhow, what the hell was the difference at the time? But I guess it would have made a difference if you believe in predetermined outcomes. So Volpe, 1 for 15 with 11 Ks in the series after going 4 for 11 versus the Red Sox. So in the playoffs, he went 5 for 26, which means he made 21 outs. Out of the 21 outs, 16 were strikeouts. And you know how many walks? You know how many walks he had for the playoffs?
None,
Goose egg.
none, no walks. Wow. What about Grisham? Not much better.
Grisham was 3 for 18 versus the Blue Jays in the playoffs. 4 for 29, 10 strikeouts, 3 walks.
As your leadoff hitter. Very, very good. Can
Stanton
you
Stanton
imagine
went
if he
one
had
for
even hit?
Stanton went 1 for 10 against the Sox and 4 for 16 against the
Yeah.
Jays.
No, and very impotent. Like really not
Well,
a
he
lot,
did
I
he
guess.
did he drove in 4 runs yesterday. You got to give him that.
Yeah.
So
But
he was crucial. Yes, the only player that really didn't contribute yesterday was Volpe. Jazz
mm,
in overall 2 for 14 against the Jays with 2 walks and 2 strikeouts. I thought strikeouts would be higher. Overall in the playoffs, 4 for 22 with 3 walks and 5 strikeouts. Not good. Ben Rice, 2 for 11 versus the Jays with 5 strikeouts and 2 walks, including the one for today. So that's not good. And he was 4 for 18 overall in the playoffs, which means he went 2 for 7 against the Sox.
can I ask you a question? How
Yeah.
many strikeouts in all did the Yankees have in total? How many at bats? I'd like to know what was their
I can tell
percentage
you
of
that in a second.
strikeout.
I have it up. The
I
Yankees
bet they're 30%.
The Yankees had 66 strikeouts in 235 at bats. So it's
Oh,
66 divided by 235 is more than 25%.
terrible.
But that's
And
overall in the entire playoffs. Against the Blue Jays, it was, they had one game where they didn't strike out much.
mhm.
But yeah, they struck out ridiculous amounts. Um, Boone was just bothering me in the post game because he didn't, he gave the credit to the Blue Jays, which I do. I think the Blue Jays were just better team, better
Great
constructed.
team. And nothing not likable about them. It's another thing. It's not like I feel like when the Yankees lost to the Red Sox or they lost to the Mets. I thought they lost to a really good team that deserved to win the series on every level. There was
Especially
nothing
since
they didn't do
it
well.
went just like it went during the regular season against them.
Yeah, and you get what you deserve. They lose home field because they were 1-8 against that team up there, and overall didn't do very well. They were 4-2 at Yankee Stadium, but 1-8. That's your season. That's your pennant. That's your Eastern Division right there. There's your home field advantage. Therein lies, and all those games in the year that they lost, you and I would talk about, in this on this podcast, all those wins that they could have won, games that they should have won that they did. You know,
Little things. I will say this: Boone didn't, other than Goldschmidt running and not pinch hitting for Volpe before the third strikeout. I don't think Boone made decisions that cost them games in this series. He made decisions that in close games could have cost them, but he didn't
there
cost them
weren't.
any games in this series. So it's not like you could say Boone lost them games. Like there were games during the regular season he lost for them. And I
Yeah,
think he lost more games than he won for them during the regular season. But in the playoffs, he didn't lose any games for him, but he made the same decisions that he would make during the season, which to him is it's a crapshoot. You make the same decisions in the playoffs that you do in the regular season, which is BS.
yeah,
And that's the problem is that they're addicts that don't know they're addicts, and
yeah.
that's if you don't know that you have a problem, you can't solve the problem. And
That's right.
listening to everything that they say, whether it's Cashman, whether it's Hal, whether it's Boone, you don't hear them saying that they're making mistakes, and that they have a structural issue. What's interesting is Judge didn't say those things. He didn't say anything negative. He kept whenever they said something about somebody, they said, "Oh, I love these guys. I would love to roll it back with them. I don't know that that's going to happen." Blah blah blah. He didn't say we've got the team to win. He just talked about how enjoyable this team was as a team and being together, which is a way to avoid the topic without being, hey, it's a crapshoot. That just drives me freaking bananas.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. Obviously, we're not going to have any more post games.
Well,
Um,
no more post games, but what we'll
we
do is
we
we'll come back. Let's give it a couple days rest,
right,
and
and
then we'll come back and do a show
yeah,
on
I think
what
we've
they need
got
to do.
we've got the same thing that they'll do, and we'll give our opinions, whatever they're worth. Keep them, trade them, re-sign him, let
Mm.
him walk, qualifying offer, not, that type of stuff. What do the team need? All the basic offseason stuff will get started early. We'll probably look at the free agent class. We got a lot of stuff that we're going to do over the next few weeks. It gets to be the dry season now. Um, we'll let the Blue Jays and the rest of the teams that are in the playoffs let them do their dance and have their glory. They deserve it.
I
But
still think the Troy Tigers, man, the Troy Tigers came back
I
big today. I have
this
a feeling
yeah.
they're going to
Well,
win that
Scooble's
World
pitching.
Series.
Isn't Scooble pitching tomorrow for them?
Yeah.
Is it? It's game five tomorrow. No, they
Game
have a day
five.
off, and then it's game five. Day off, and then
Game
game five.
five.
Scooble. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously my Seattle Mariners now against your Detroit Tigers.
Wow, I love this. Look how this is working
Yeah,
out.
and and I've
So,
got my Dodgers are beating the Phillies right now. So isn't the Phillies your pick too?
no, no, I said Dodgers, Dodgers,
You said Dodgers,
Dodgers. Yeah, I said Dodgers will lose to the Tigers.
and I said the
And
Dodgers are going to beat the Mariners. So
wow,
yeah, so well tomorrow will tell us
that's
who's
right.
going to have a better chance. On
That's
tomorrow,
right.
obviously the Phillies and the Dodgers get back together as well.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Let's go have a nice night. I'm sorry that you had at
And
least a
hey,
little time
thank
to
you for
enjoy.
those that are watching us on YouTube. We appreciate it. We set a record.
Wow,
We set a nice
500.
record for ourselves for that, and several comments, which I've replied to and said thank you to everybody because they were very good comments, even the constructive ones. And we thank you guys for
Thank you.
listening either here live or on YouTube. And I want to
Okay,
Joey and Frank. I thought the show yesterday was outstanding, and
we had fun.
picking on me is always fun to listen to, especially when I'm on the other end screaming at the camera, which I
It's
can't even
easy.
participate. It was great. It's easy
Uh,
pickings, and I appreciated it.
we picked. We were
Yeah.
picking, and it was
Well,
easy.
Joe, I will say Sleepy Joe, he was almost pulling his Joe Biden on there. But,
That was
for a guy who's
going at one
147,
point,
he's 147 years old. So
but
you
he
got to give
doesn't
that.
look a day over 137.
Yeah,
Come
what's
on, he
amazing
looks
to me is that
great.
he has TV on in the background. And Frankie is just amazing.
I
But
had to tell him that.
that,
I said, "Oh, would somebody turn their TV
yeah,
off?"
I,
Ah, what?
my biggest disappointment in the show yesterday is that Frankie did not know the name of all of Duval's siblings. How could you say he's got 23 brothers and sisters and not rattle off the names? That's just ridiculous.
That
Frankie,
was
I'm telling you now, I'm extremely disappointed in you.
Frankie. That was very funny, very enjoyable. But my
Oh,
favorite was Joe was going, does somebody have a TV on? No. Joe's like, oh, me.
I got the most. I love those. We got to keep having them on because
Oh, they're too funny.
and they have energy when they come on the show in a way that it's very good.
It's
And it's
good.
good to
We
have.
love those
And
guys.
despite Joe's 174 years and Frankie's 123, they don't have technology issues that a younger man might have.
I mean, like Kramer,
I
Dan
wasn't going
Kramer,
to use
Kramer, who's still sitting on another version of Yankees Coast to Coast. Wait, he's still sitting there trying to get in.
I think he's waiting for the live show to start.
All right, have a great night. Go, go
Oh,
Yanks,
good deal.
go.
Good luck in prison.
You too.